The morning sky over New Seoul was clear and blue. Lieutenant Tae-ho Kim walked along the edge of the colony, checking the security fence. His boots made soft sounds on the dirt path. 5 years had passed since he left Earth's Special Forces, the Green Berets. Now he worked as head of security for this small human colony. Another quiet day, he said to himself, adjusting the scanner on his belt. Tae-ho liked quiet days. He had seen enough action on Earth to last a lifetime. The scanner beeped suddenly. He stopped and looked at it. Strange energy readings were coming from above the colony. This was not normal. He tapped his comm unit. Control room, this is Kim. Are you seeing this? Yes, sir, said Ju Park, the colony administrator. Her voice sounded tense. Something big just entered our atmosphere. It's not one of ours. Tae-ho looked up. A dark shape was growing larger in the sky. It was not like any ship he had seen before. The shape was long and sharp, like a blade cutting through the blue. Get everyone inside, he ordered. Sound the alarm. Sirens began to wail across the colony. People ran to their homes and sealed their doors. Tae-ho rushed back toward the main building. He needed his weapons. The alien ship stopped above the colony center. It was massive, at least 3 times bigger than their largest building. Strange lights pulsed along its dark hull. A beam of light shot down to the ground, and figures began to appear in it. Tae-ho slipped into a side door of the main building and grabbed his rifle. From the window, he watched as the aliens took form. They were huge, nearly 3 meters tall. Their bodies were covered in what looked like natural armor, dark plates that moved as they walked. They carried weapons that glowed with strange energy. Ju Park walked out to meet them. She was brave, Tae-ho thought. Too brave. Welcome to New Seoul, she said, her voice steady. We are a peaceful colony. The largest alien stepped forward. Its voice was deep and rough, like stones grinding together. I am Overlord Krax of the Voidcrest Empire. This planet is now under Dravik control. Ju stood tall. We have no quarrel with you. Perhaps we can discuss. The alien moved faster than seemed possible for its size. One moment, Ju was speaking. The next, she was on the ground. The alien had struck her with such force that Tae-ho knew she was dead before she hit the dirt. There is nothing to discuss, Overlord Krax said. Humans will make excellent slaves. Your physical adaptability and endurance are notable traits. Tae-ho felt cold anger rise in his chest. He wanted to shoot, to fight, but he forced himself to stay hidden. 20 armed aliens against 1 man were bad odds, even for a Green Beret. Search every building, Krax ordered his soldiers. Bring all humans to the center square. Kill any who resist. The aliens spread out. Tae-ho moved away from the window and through the back halls of the building. He needed time to think, to plan. The colonists had no army, no real weapons beyond a few security rifles. They were farmers, scientists, and engineers, not soldiers. But they had him, and he had spent his life training for impossible situations. Tae-ho slipped out of the building and into the shadow of a storage shed. He watched as the aliens began breaking down doors, dragging screaming colonists into the open. In his mind, he was already mapping the colony, noting terrain advantages, counting weapons he could access. The aliens had made a mistake. They thought humans would be easy prey because they looked small and weak compared to the armored Dravik. They didn't understand what humans were capable of when pushed too far. They didn't know what a Green Beret could do. Tae-ho checked his rifle and slipped into the drainage tunnel that ran beneath the colony. They'd wanted a war. He would give them one they would never forget. It was time to hunt the hunters. Overlord Krax stood in the colony square. The sun was setting, turning the sky red. Around him, human prisoners sat on the ground with their hands tied. His soldiers had captured 43 humans, but there were supposed to be 50. Where are the others? He asked his captain. The captain, a Dravik named Merg, lowered his head. We cannot find them, Overlord. Some may have escaped into the hills. Cracks growled. This was not acceptable. Send out the hunters. I want every human found by morning. Murg bowed and walked away. He called for Xar, the best hunter in the Dravik fleet. Xar had tracked down rebels on 12 different planets. He had never failed to find his target. Xar stepped forward. He was slightly smaller than other Dravik, but his armor plates were marked with more battle scars. Each scar told of a successful hunt. Find the missing humans, Murg ordered, especially their security leader. Our scans show he has military training. Xar nodded. It will be done. He picked 4 other hunters, and they headed out into the growing darkness. Tai-Ho watched from a hillside as the aliens set up lights around the colony. They had most of the colonists, but not all. He had helped 7 people escape through the drainage tunnels. Now he needed to find more survivors before the aliens did. He moved quietly through the forest. His green Beret training had taught him how to become part of the shadows. He stepped only on hard ground to leave no footprints. He broke no branches and disturbed no leaves. A sound made him freeze. Voices, but not human ones. The deep, rough speech of the Dravik came from his left. He slowly crouched behind a large tree and waited. 5 Dravik hunters passed by, just 20 meters away. They carried strange weapons and what looked like tracking devices. The one in front was smaller than the others, with armor covered in marks. This one moved differently, more carefully, more skillfully. This one was dangerous. Tai-Ho let them pass. Then he moved in the opposite direction, toward the research station where some colonists might be hiding. The research station was dark when Tai-Ho arrived. He knocked on the door in a special pattern. 3 quick taps, pause, 2 slow taps. After a moment, the door opened just enough for him to slip inside. Lieutenant Kim, Dr. Hannah Ryu whispered. We thought everyone in the main colony was captured. Inside the small building, 4 scientists huddled together. They looked scared but alive. The aliens control the colony, Tai-Ho said, but not for long. I need your help. He explained his plan. The scientists would sneak out through the forest to a cave system he had found. There, they would meet the other escaped colonists. Meanwhile, Tai-Ho would return to the colony to gather supplies and information. What can we do against those monsters? Hannah asked. They're 3 times our size and have advanced weapons. Tai-Ho checked his rifle. Size isn't everything in a fight. Neither are fancy weapons. Knowledge is power. And right now, they know more about us than we know about them. I'm going to change that. Xar stood still, examining a broken twig. The human had passed this way. But then the trail disappeared. This was unusual. Most species left clear tracks, especially when running scared. But this human moved like a hunter, not prey. Spread out. Tar ordered his team. The human is here somewhere. As the other hunters moved away, Xar noticed something strange on the ground. He bent down to look closer. It was a small device with a blinking light. Too late, he realized what it was. The device exploded with a bright flash and loud bang. It was not powerful enough to hurt through his armor, but it blinded and deafened him temporarily. When his senses cleared, one of his hunters was down, knocked out. And on a tree nearby, something was stuck to the bark. It was a piece of cloth with marks on it. Xar recognized it as human writing, but couldn't read it. Later, a translator told him what it said. Welcome to Earth's Special Forces Training Course. Lesson 1. Always check for traps. Xar felt something new. Respect for his prey. This human was not running away. This human was fighting back. He returned to Overlord Krax with his unconscious hunter and the message. Krax was furious. One human did this. Find him and bring him to me alive. I want to see what makes this species think it can challenge the Dravik. Xar nodded, but inside he was thinking, this hunt would not be like the others. For the first time, He wondered if he might be the prey instead of the hunter. 3 days had passed since the Dravik landed. Tahoe moved through the shadows of the colony at night. He had learned to time the guards' patrols. They were very strict about their schedule. This made them easy to predict. Tonight, he had a mission. He needed to find Dr. Yunji Kang, the colony's top scientist. If anyone could help him understand these aliens, it was her. Tahoe slipped past 2 guards who were looking at the sky, not at the ground where he crawled. He reached the science building and found a vent near the ground. He removed the cover and squeezed inside. The air in the vent was dusty. He moved slowly to stay quiet. When he reached the main lab, he looked through the vent cover. Inside, he saw Dr. Kang working alone. The aliens had put her to work studying the local plants. Tahoe knocked softly on the vent. Yunji looked up, confused. Then she saw him, and her eyes grew wide. She walked over as if she was just checking something on the wall. "Lieutenant Kim," she whispered, "you're alive. Can you get away tonight?" He asked. "I need your help." She nodded. "The guard outside falls asleep around midnight. I can slip out then." "Meet me at the old water tower," Tahoe said, "and bring any information you have about the Dravik." At midnight, Yunji arrived at the water tower. Tahoe led her through the forest to the cave where 20 colonists now hid. They had food and water for a few weeks, thanks to Tahoe's raids on the colony supplies. "I've been studying them," Yunji said when they were safe in the cave. "The Dravik are fascinating in a scary way." She showed Tahoe her notes. She had observed the aliens when they thought no one was watching. "Their armor is actually part of their bodies," she explained. "Like a turtle's shell, but stronger. But I noticed something important. They don't see well in the dark." Tahoe sat up straighter. "How do you know?" "They always carry lights at night, even when the moon is bright. And they turn their heads more, like they're trying to see better. I think they hunt mostly by heat and movement." This was valuable information. Tahoe thought about his next moves. What else? "They follow orders without question. When a higher-ranked Dravik speaks, the others obey instantly. Take away their leaders, and they seem lost." Tahoe smiled. This was exactly what he needed. "Can you help me create something to block our body heat from their sensors?" Yunji thought for a moment. "Yes, I think so. With the right materials from my lab." On the Dravik ship, Char sat alone in his quarters. On his screen were images of human battles throughout history. He had requested all information about humans from the Empire's database. What he saw impressed him. Humans had been fighting each other for thousands of years. They had mastered war against themselves. Most species the Dravik conquered had only fought against animals or in small tribal conflicts. But humans? They had global wars with millions of fighters. One type of human soldier caught his attention. The ones called Special Forces. These warriors trained to fight against larger numbers. They used the land, weather, and darkness as weapons. They could survive anywhere and fight with anything. Was the human he hunted one of these warriors? It would explain much. Czar stood and walked to Overlord Krax's chamber. He needed to report what he had learned. "Speak," Krax said when Czar entered. "Overlord, I believe we have underestimated these humans," Czar said. "They are not like other species we have conquered." Krax laughed. "They are small and weak. Their bodies break easily." "Yes, but their minds are dangerous," Czar insisted. "They have fought wars for their entire history. They know how to defeat stronger enemies." He showed Krax the images of human battles. "This one human who fights us, I believe he is what they call a green beret, an elite warrior trained to fight against impossible odds." Krax studied the images. His laughter stopped. "One warrior cannot defeat the Dravik Empire." "No," Czar agreed, "but one warrior can teach others. If the humans have time to organize, they will become a real threat." Krax stood. "Then we will not give them time. Call all hunters back to the ship. We will use the heat scanners from orbit to find their hiding places. Sar bowed and left, but as he walked back to his quarters he wondered, if the ship's scanners could find the humans so easily, why hadn't this special warrior been caught already? The answer came to him just as the ship's alarms began to sound. The humans had found a way to hide from their technology. This hunt was becoming more interesting by the day. Tai-Ho and Yunji walked quietly through the underground tunnels. The mining system ran deep under the colony. The Dravik did not know about most of these passages. The holding cells should be just ahead, Tai-Ho whispered. His rifle was ready in his hands. They had learned that the Dravik were keeping some colonists in an underground room. These people had special skills the aliens wanted to use. Engineers, doctors, and tech experts were all there. Yunji held up a small device she had made. This will block their heat sensors for about 10 minutes. After that, we need to be gone. Tai-Ho nodded. 10 minutes is enough. They reached a metal door. 2 Dravik guards stood outside. Tai-Ho pulled out a small ball Yunji had made. It was filled with a gas that would make the Dravik sleep for a short time. He rolled it toward the guards. The ball released a pale blue gas. The guards sniffed the air, then fell to the floor. They were not dead, just sleeping. Quick, Tai-Ho said. He took the key card from one guard and opened the door. Inside, 12 colonists sat on the floor. They looked up in surprise when Tai-Ho and Yunji entered. Lieutenant Kim, one man said, "You're alive." "Quiet, Jae-hoon," Tai-Ho said. "We're getting you out of here." Jae-hoon Baek had been the colony's top engineer. He was thin but strong, with clever hands that could fix or build almost anything. "There are guards all through the tunnels," Jae-hoon warned. "And something else you should know." Before he could finish, a door at the back of the room opened. A Dravik stepped in. But this one was different. It was smaller, and its armor was a lighter color. It froze when it saw Tai-Ho's gun pointing at it. "Don't shoot," the Dravik said in broken human language. "Help you. I help you." Tai-Ho kept his gun ready. "Why would you help us?" The small Dravik touched its chest. "Miv. My name Miv. Lowercased. Slave like you." Jae-hoon stepped forward. "He's been bringing us extra food and water. I think he's telling the truth." Tai-Ho studied the alien. Its eyes showed fear, but also hope. "Many watch you," Miv said. "Many slaves in Empire. You fight Dravik. First time anyone fight back in many, many years." Yunji looked at her device. "We have 7 minutes left. We need to decide now." Tai-Ho lowered his gun slightly. "Can you help us get everyone out safely?" Miv nodded quickly. "No safe way. Follow Miv." They moved through parts of the tunnels Tai-Ho had never seen before. Miv led them past sleeping quarters where off-duty Dravik rested. The alien moved with quick, nervous steps. "Why are you helping us?" Yunji asked as they walked. "Dravik have 3 castes," Miv explained. "Warrior, worker, breeder. Miv is worker. No rights. No choice. Do or die." "Your people enslave their own kind?" Jae-hoon asked. "Yes. Warriors rule all. Overlord Krax is High Warrior. All fear him." They reached a hidden exit that led to the forest. As the colonists climbed out, Tai-Ho turned to Miv. "Come with us." Miv shook his head. "Cannot. Warriors count all workers. Missing worker means death for many." "Will you help us again?" Tai-Ho asked. "Yes, we'll help. Must go now." Miv turned to leave, then stopped. Many worlds watch Earth fight. News spreads in secret. Hope spreads. After Miv left, the group moved quickly through the forest to the cave system. Now they had 24 people. Some were hurt, but all could help in some way. Jae-hoon looked at the few weapons and tools they had. "With the right parts, I could turn our mining equipment into weapons." Tai-Ho smiled. "That's exactly what I was hoping you'd say." That night, they formed a plan. Yunji would work on ways to block Dravik technology. Ji-hoon would build weapons, and Taeho would train everyone to fight. "We are not just hiding anymore," Taeho told the group. "From now on, we are resistance." As they talked, far above in space, the Dravik ship received a message from the Empire. More ships were coming. The humans had 1 week before their small resistance would face an army. 5 days had passed since the rescue. The resistance group worked day and night. Ji-hoon had turned mining drills into energy weapons. Yunji had created special suits that blocked body heat, and Taeho had trained everyone in basic fighting skills. But time was running out. In 2 days, more Dravik ships would arrive. Taeho sat alone at the mouth of the cave, cleaning his rifle. His mind was filled with memories of his green Beret training. One lesson stood out. When fighting a stronger enemy, you must use their strength against them. Lieutenant Kim. Yunji sat down beside him. "Miv is here with news." Miv had become their spy, bringing information and small supplies. The small Dravik now stood in the shadows, looking nervous. "Sar has called for you," Miv said. "He makes formal challenge." Taeho frowned. "What kind of challenge?" "Ritual combat. 1 warrior against 1 warrior. Old Dravik tradition." Miv pointed to the sky. "He speaks on all channels. Says if human warrior fights him and wins, colonists go free." "And if I lose?" Taeho asked. "All humans become slaves. No more fighting." Yunji grabbed Taeho's arm. "It's a trap. You can't trust them." Taeho thought carefully. "Is this challenge real in your culture, Miv? Would other Dravik honor it?" Miv nodded. "Very old tradition. Very important. If warrior makes public challenge and loses, must keep word. Great shame to break warrior oath." Taeho stood up. "Where and when?" "Colony Center. Tomorrow at midday." After Miv left, everyone argued with Taeho. The plan was too dangerous. He could not beat a Dravik in direct combat. They were too big, too strong. "We don't have many options," Taeho said. "More ships are coming. We need to end this before they arrive." That night, Taeho sat alone by the fire. He thought about a mission from his past. He had been the only survivor when his team was ambushed in a foreign land. For 3 days, he had fought against an enemy that outnumbered him 20-1. He had survived by using his mind more than his weapons. Now he would need to do the same again. The colony center was bright with sunlight. Sar stood in the middle of the open space. He wore less armor than usual and carried 2 swords. Around the area, Dravik soldiers formed a circle. Behind them, the human prisoners watched with fear and hope in their eyes. Overlord Krax sat on a raised platform. "Where is this human warrior?" he demanded. "Does he fear to face a true fighter?" Just then, Taeho walked into the circle. The humans gasped. The Dravik soldiers pointed their weapons at him. "I am here," Taeho said. He wore simple clothes and carried nothing. No weapons, no armor. Sar studied him with interest. "You come unarmed to ritual combat." Taeho stood tall despite being half the alien size. "I bring the only weapons I need." Sar seemed impressed by Taeho's courage. He threw one of his swords toward the human. "Take a weapon. Show us how humans fight." Taeho did not touch the sword. "I will fight in the human way." Overlord Krax laughed. "Then you will die in the human way." Sar moved forward. He was fast for his size. His first swing would have cut Taeho in half, but the human was not there anymore. Taeho had stepped aside at the last moment. Again and again, Sar attacked. His movements were skilled and powerful, but Taeho moved like water, always just beyond reach. This was not running away. This was the fighting style Taeho had trained in for years, using the enemy's strength against them. When Sar lunged forward with full strength, Taeho grabbed the alien's arm and used the momentum to throw XR to the ground. The sound of the massive body hitting the dirt made everyone silent. Sar got up, anger in his eyes. He attacked with both swords now. But as he swung, Tai-Ho moved inside his reach. The human struck at points where the armor plates met, the weak spots Yun-Ji had identified. Sar bellowed in pain. He dropped one sword. Tai-Ho picked it up, and with a spinning move, knocked the other sword away. Now Tai-Ho held a sword at Tar's throat. "Do it," Tar said. "Finish the fight." Tai-Ho stepped back and dropped the sword. "Humans don't kill without need. The fight is over. I've won." The colony center was completely silent. A human had defeated the greatest Dravik hunter, and then showed mercy. Overlord Crack stood up, his face twisted with rage. "This means nothing. No human defeats the Dravik Empire. This means nothing. No human defeats the Dravik Empire." Overlord Crax's voice boomed across the colony center. Tai-Ho stood tall, facing the angry alien leader. The Dravik soldiers raised their weapons. "You made a warrior's oath," Tai-Ho said. "Your people were watching." Crax sneered. "I made no oath. Sar did, and he has failed." He turned to his command officer. "Prepare the ship's main guns. Destroy this colony. Leave no human alive." The Dravik began to move. Soldiers pushed the human prisoners back toward the holding cells. Others ran to their stations. Tai-Ho looked at Sar, who stood with his head down. The defeated hunter would not meet his eyes. "You have 5 minutes to enjoy your victory," Crax told Tai-Ho. "Then you will see what happens to those who challenge the Empire." Guards surrounded Tai-Ho and took him to a small room. They did not tie him up. There was no need. Where could he run when the entire colony was about to be destroyed from orbit? But Tai-Ho was not worried. This was part of the plan. In the cave hideout, Yun-Ji watched her computer screen. A small dot moved across it. Tai-Ho's location tracker. "He's in the main building," she told the others, "just where he said he would be." Jae-hoon checked his homemade weapons. "Are we ready?" 20 colonists stood around him. They wore the heat-blocking suits Yun-Ji had made. They carried the weapons Jae-hoon had built. They looked scared but determined. "Remember your training," Yun-Ji said. "Stay in groups of 3. Use the tunnels." They had spent days memorizing the underground map of the colony. The Dravik knew some tunnels, but not all. "What about the ship's guns?" someone asked. "If they fire from orbit, we're all dead." Jae-hoon patted a large device next to him. "That's why we built this. It's a signal blocker. When it's turned on, the ship can't communicate with the colony. They can't give firing orders." "Let's move," Yun-Ji said. "We have 10 minutes before they expect to fire." In his holding room, Tai-Ho sat quietly. He had been in worse situations. Once, in a jungle far from home, he had been the only one left from his team. 8 enemies had surrounded his hiding place. He had walked out with no scratches. They had not been so lucky. The door opened. Tai-Ho expected to see a guard. Instead, Sar entered alone. The Dravik hunter closed the door behind him. For a long moment, they stared at each other. "Why did you not kill me?" Sar finally asked. "Because I didn't need to," Tai-Ho said. The fight was over. In Dravik culture, mercy is weakness. Tai-Ho smiled slightly. In human culture, mercy is strength. It takes more courage to spare a life than to take one. Sar seemed confused by this idea. Then he reached into a pouch at his side and pulled out a small device. "Command codes," he said, placing it on the table. "For the ship's network. My honor demands I help you." Tai-Ho didn't move. "Why?" "I made the challenge. Crax breaks my oath by killing you. This shames me and all warriors." Tai-Ho took the device. "Thank you." Sar moved to the door. "I cannot help more, but I will not fight against you again." Before leaving, he added, "You are a worthy enemy, human." As soon as Tar left, Tai-Ho activated his small radio. "Eagle to base. I have the codes. Start the operation." Deep in the tunnels, Jae-hoon turned on the signal blocker. On the Dravik ship, confusion spread as all communications with the ground suddenly stopped. Eun-Jai led one team into the colony's power center. Two Dravik guards fell to silent shots from Jae-hoon's weapons. She quickly connected their computer to the power grid. "Uploading the virus now," she whispered into her radio. "All systems will reset in 30 seconds." Across the colony, lights flickered, door locks clicked open. Alarm systems shut down. In the holding cells, the prisoners heard a voice over the speakers. "This is Lieutenant Kim. Head for the tunnels now. Follow the blue lights." Dravik soldiers ran in confusion as their equipment stopped working. Their radios made strange noises. Their weapons lost power. Overlord Krax stormed onto the ship's bridge. "Why can't we fire? Fix it now." The Dravik officer looked afraid. "We can't, Overlord. Something is blocking all signals. And there's more. The other ships report they will be delayed. There's a problem with their jump drives." On a screen, Krax watched as humans ran from the buildings into hidden tunnel entrances. His prisoners were escaping. His perfect victory was falling apart. "Find that human warrior," he ordered. "Bring him to me alive." But when soldiers reached the holding room, Tae-ho was already gone. The massive holographic display flickered with angry red indicators, marking the catastrophic losses of the Kreltheri invasion fleet. Admiral Krell stood motionless, his scaled fingers clenched into tight fists as report after report confirmed the unthinkable. Humans were systematically destroying their most advanced war machines. Jae-hoon Park moved silently through the captured alien command ship, his green Beret training making him a ghost among the chaos. The ship's internal systems had been partially disabled, thanks to Dr. Yun-Soo Kim's breakthrough in quantum hacking. Around him, the alien vessel hummed with a wounded energy, its once pristine corridors now scared by human intervention. "Tactical team in position," a voice crackled through his encrypted comlink. The plan was simple yet audacious. Strike directly at the heart of the Kreltheri command structure. The alien Supreme Commander's personal chamber loomed ahead. Jae-hoon could feel the tension in the air, a mix of fear and anticipation that seemed to pulse through the metal walls. His hand checked the modified alien weapon at his side, a device that Dr. Kim had rebuilt from captured technology, making it more effective than its original design. Inside the chamber, Admiral Karel finally turned. His multiple eyes, a dark, iridescent blue typical of his species, locked onto Jae-hoon with a mixture of hatred and disbelief. "Human," he spoke, the translator device rendering his alien language into crisp English. "You do not understand the scale of what you are fighting." Jae-hoon remained calm. "We understand more than you think." The room was a testament to the Kreltheri centuries of galactic conquest. Trophy cases lined the walls, displaying artifacts from 100 conquered civilizations. Each item represented a world broken, a species subjugated. But something was different this time. The humans were not breaking. "Your species is young," Krell continued, moving slowly. "We have conquered civilizations older than your entire planetary history. What makes you think you can resist?" A slight smile crossed Jae-hoon's face. "Adaptation, creativity, the ability to turn your strengths into weaknesses." The Admiral lunged suddenly, faster than a human could normally react. But Jae-hoon was no ordinary human. Years of Special Forces training, combined with the subtle technological enhancements developed by Dr. Kim's team, made him something more. He dodged the first attack, using the alien's momentum against him. The modified weapon came up, its quantum-entangled energy core humming with potential. One shot would be enough. Around them, the ship continued to die. Human strike teams were systematically dismantling the Kreltheri's command infrastructure. Every system they had believed impenetrable was being torn apart by human ingenuity. "You do not understand the history of our empire," Krell hissed, preparing for another attack. "History is written by those who survive," Jae-hoon responded. The battle was more than a physical confrontation. It was a clash of species, of philosophies. The Kreltheri believed in rigid control, in overwhelming force. Humans believed in adaptability, in the power of individual initiative. As Jae-hoon faced the alien commander, he represented something the Krell had never encountered. A species that could turn defeat into victory, that could learn and adapt faster than any technological advantage. The moment stretched. The ship groaned around them. Outside, space itself seemed to hold its breath. Humanity's true test had begun. The United Nations Assembly Hall buzzed with an energy unlike any previous gathering in human history. Representatives from every country sat alongside alien diplomats, a scene that would have seemed impossible just months earlier. Jae-hoon Park stood at the center of the massive circular room, his green beret uniform looking out of place among the fancy diplomatic attire. Dr. Yeon-soo Kim sat nearby, her fingers dancing across a holographic display that showed the rapidly changing galactic map. We have confirmed the complete withdrawal of Krell forces from 17 previously occupied star systems, announced Secretary General Elena Rodriguez. Her voice carried a mixture of triumph and caution. The revelations had come quickly after the decisive battles. The Krell Empire was not just another conquering force. They were a carefully constructed machine of oppression that had systematically crushed dozens of civilizations over thousands of years. Humanity had done what no other species had managed. They had not just resisted, but completely dismantled the alien war machine. Scattered around the assembly were representatives from newly liberated civilizations. Some looked human-like, others were so alien that they seemed to shimmer and change shape as they moved. Each carried the same look, a mix of hope and lingering fear. The technological data we've recovered is beyond anything we could have imagined. Dr. Kim spoke up, her voice calm and precise. A holographic display flickered to life, showing complex diagrams of alien technology. Their faster-than-light communication systems, quantum energy storage, adaptive shield technologies. We've only begun to understand a fraction of what they've developed. Jae-hoon listened carefully. He knew the real victory wasn't just in winning the war, but in what would come next. Humanity had proven itself not just as survivors, but as potential leaders in a much larger galactic community. A representative from a lizard-like species called the Vornax stood up. His scaled skin shifted colors as he spoke. Humans have done what we could not do in 500 years of resistance. You broke the Krell theory not just with weapons, but with something we do not fully understand. That something was human unpredictability. The ability to think outside established rules, to adapt, to turn weaknesses into strengths. Dr. Kim's next words captured the essence of their achievement. We didn't win by having better weapons. We won by being willing to change faster than our enemy could understand. The aftermath was complex. Entire star systems needed rebuilding. Civilizations that had been under Krell control for generations now faced the challenge of rediscovering their own identities, and humanity found itself in an unexpected position, not as conquerors, but as potential guides. Jae-hoon's mind drifted to the battles, to the moments when everything could have gone wrong, to the countless soldiers and scientists who had worked together to achieve the impossible. The Krell believed in absolute control. He spoke up, his voice cutting through the diplomatic chatter. We believe in potential, in growth, in the ability to learn and change. A murmur of agreement swept through the room. Alien and human diplomats alike recognized the profound truth in his words. Outside the assembly hall, repair ships moved between damaged space stations. Technological exchanges were already beginning. The first true galactic alliance was taking shape, with humanity at its core. The war was over, but humanity's real journey was just beginning. 5 years had passed since the Krell invasion. Jae-hoon Park stood on the observation deck of the International Space Station Unity, watching the endless field of stars. The station was different now, no longer just a human project, but a true meeting point of multiple alien civilizations. Dr. Yeon-soo Kim approached, her footsteps quiet against the metal floor. She carried 2 cups of coffee, one human, one a special blend designed for the Vornax diplomat who worked in the next research module. "Thinking about the war?" she asked. Jae-hoon nodded. The scars were still there, both physical and mental. Humanity had changed. The entire planet had transformed from a collection of competing nations to a unified species with a clear purpose. The galactic community was complex. Not all alien civilizations trusted humans. Some feared their rapid technological growth. Others saw them as potential saviors. But no one could ignore them anymore. "We're not conquerors," Jae-hoon said, more to himself than to Yun-soo. "We're explorers. Adapters." A holographic display flickered to life. It showed the current state of human expansion. Colonies on Mars had grown into full cities. Research stations orbited distant planets. Humanity had become a true spacefaring civilization in just a few short years. The technology recovered from the Krull theory had been a game-changer. Faster than light travel was no longer a dream. Quantum communication had connected worlds that were once impossibly far apart. But humans had done something unique. They hadn't just copied alien technology. They had reimagined it. Dr. Kim pointed to a specific section of the holographic map. "The Zorntal research team wants our help. They're struggling with a genetic adaptation problem on their colony world." Jae-hoon smiled. This was humanity's new role, not as warriors, but as problem solvers, as bridges between different species and civilizations. Outside the observation window, a new type of spacecraft moved silently. It was a joint project: human design, Vornax energy systems, Zorntal navigation technology. A perfect example of the new galactic cooperation. "Do you ever wonder," Jae-hoon asked, "what would have happened if we hadn't survived the invasion?" Yun-soo considered the question. "We were never just about survival. We were about growth, about potential." A communication alert interrupted them. The Galactic Council was calling a meeting. Apparently, long-range scanners had detected something unusual at the edge of explored space. Another challenge, another opportunity. Jae-hoon's old green Beret training had prepared him for moments like these. Adaptability, quick thinking, the ability to turn unexpected situations into advantages. The space station hummed with energy. Dozens of species worked together in laboratories, communication centers, and research modules. Humans were no longer the new kids. They were partners, innovators. "Ready?" Yun-soo asked. Jae-hoon nodded. The universe was large, complicated, full of mysteries, and humanity was ready to face whatever came next. Not as conquerors, not as survivors, but as explorers. The stars waited.